was I would go to the REO conferences, identify all the asset managers, right? These are the bankers. Figure out who are the decision makers. Take them to the clubs, get them drunk, get bottle service, bring girls over to the private section.
Yeah.
Come home, get listings.
Wow, that's so deep. What's going on, guys? And welcome to another episode of Al and K Show, brought to you by Modern Day Brokerage. And today we have a very special guest. His name is Steve Trang. He's all the way from East Valley here in Arizona, in Chandler.
That's right.
I'm sure most of you, if you're in a real estate space, real estate sales, real estate investment, sales, training, you probably heard of Steve Trang. He had some amazing guests on his podcast. He done over 300 or so podcasts.
Yeah,
right?
there's just our episodes, yeah.
Yeah, 300 episodes. We're going to talk about his story. We're going to talk about his journey. The whole point of this podcast, guys, is to really interview the best of the best, right? Entrepreneurs, business owners, real estate investors, individuals that are bold, that take risks, do not settle for, mediocrity, and push through the adversity, right? Because we all go through adversity in life. And this guy right here is a special person that I've known for, Steve, I think we've known each other for 10 years or so?
Over 10 years, because we connected, I think, through Proctor.
Craig Proctor, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I remember coaching with him in 2014 or 15.
Yeah, I started in 10. I want to say I stopped around 15. So, yeah, it was somewhere along the way.
Awesome, man. All right, so listen, tell the world a little bit more about you and kind of how everything started.
Right now, what I'm known for is either podcasting or sales training. But I've done just about everything you can possibly do in real estate except for property management. That's the one thing I won't touch. I bought properties. We've done rentals, short sales, REOs with foreclosures, traditional real estate, starting a brokerage, closing a brokerage, wholesale, flipping, gotten into apartments. So everything in real estate except for actually managing someone else's property.
Interesting. So why didn't you get into the real estate? What year was that?
So I bought my very first property in 2005. So
you bought your first property in 2005?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was rich dad, poor dad.
Yeah.
Let's buy some real estate, right? Bought a property to flip. It was an absolute failure. Ended up renting it out because it didn't work anymore. And then we tried to we used it as a vacation rental for some time. VRBO was around back in 2005, if you can believe it. And we kept it as a vacation rental just to break even. And at some point we're like, just screw this, right? In 2007, just screw this. Just give this back to the bank. But along the way, in buying properties, I met a real estate broker, and I saw, I have a master's degree in electrical engineering, and I'm making $70,000 a year, right? I'm seeing this real estate broker, and he's making, 6 figures easy. I was like, what do you do exactly? And he says, I talk to people. I was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can talk to people. And there's a lot of arrogance, right? I've always had an irrational amount of confidence. So I was like, not only can I do this, but I'm smarter than the average realtor. I should be really successful in this business.
Yeah.
What I came to realize later on is intelligence has nothing to do with success in real estate. So I got my real estate license, quit my job in 2 weeks.
You quit your job in 2 weeks.
So I met the guy. I was like, what do I got to do to learn from you? He's like, if you go get your real estate license,
I'll teach you.
I'll teach you.
Yeah.
Right. So I go to real estate school, get licensed in 2.5 weeks. Back then you can't anymore. But back then you can get licensed in 2.5 weeks. And that's only because I was doing it part-time, on the side. Got my license, submitted my 2 weeks notice, joined his brokerage, and I jumped into real estate full-time in May of 2007. Not the best time to get into real estate.
That's the opposite time of getting a real estate.
Yeah.
No, I just remember what's happening with me in 2007, 2008. I lost pretty much everything, dude. I was upside down on every property that I owned, $500,000 in debt. So you get into the real estate where most of the agents were
leaving,
getting out of the real estate, right? And then you decided to quit your job. Most of the real estate agents kind of linger around. They still have that job, and then once they get that traction, then they typically quit. So what happened? You're 2 weeks, and you're like, I'm done.
I'm an all or nothing guy, right? I'm all in. Whatever I'm doing, I'm all in. I'm obsessed. I'm going to dive all the way in, right? So if I'm going to do real estate, I'm going to do real estate. Not necessarily prescribing this methodology for everybody, but at the same time, the most successful people kind of are wired this way where they're all or nothing.
Yeah.
So I went all in, and that was a disaster. You know, you think you can do everything on your own, and you don't realize how difficult things are. And everyone that's watching already understands this, but how difficult things are when now there's no structure because you're the boss.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem with working for yourself initially is you're working for the worst boss possible because he's not understanding. And he's also the most incompetent boss because he doesn't know anything.
Right.
So you're working for yourself.
But wait, Steve, didn't you have somebody who was supposed to mentor you though?
He mentored me on the real estate component.
Gotcha.
He can tell me what to do and what to say and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like entrepreneur stuff. It wasn't running a business. It was how to be a successful real estate agent. And so, like, you know, go talk to people. It's the typical, you join a brokerage.
Yeah.
Hey, Alan, you know, you just got licensed.
Yeah.
Join my brokerage.
Yeah.
I'll give you all the keys to success.
Right.
Right. I gotta lie to you to get you to join my brokerage, right? And once you join, it's like, all right, go call your friends and family. Like, or go sit open houses.
Yep.
That's what most brokerages do.
Yeah.
Okay, go sit a bunch of open houses. Go tell all your friends and family. Go post on Facebook. Hey, I'm licensed here. I'm young. I'm excited. I want to help you guys in real estate. Right. Granted, I have no experience or no knowledge whatsoever, but I want to help you guys with your most important transaction in your life.
Right.
That's how most brokerages recruit.
Right.
Not
Focus
all.
on your sphere.
Yeah.
Right. Focus on
Sphere
your
of influence, right?
And that's exactly probably what you did as well, right?
That's what I
You
did.
just went after your
Yeah.
sphere.
And it worked, right? Like I did a bunch of transactions in like the first 3 months, right? But then the next year was an absolute disaster.
Right. Because the market shifted.
Well, the market shifted, but
Yeah.
I didn't have a marketing budget. I didn't understand marketing. I didn't understand KPIs, tracking, right? All the stuff we learned in Craig Proctor.
Yep.
Right? Tracking metrics, calling a lead within 3 minutes.
Yep.
Having a CRM that you'll use, taking good notes, having a follow-up system, having a drip system, putting people in a newsletter, a database, a farming system. Like you don't learn these things. They talk about it,
Yep.
but they don't help you execute it.
Right.
When you first get started.
Right. Right. And again, most of the brokerages, at least at that time, were not equipped with all of that stuff at all.
No.
Right. I mean, if you think
Right.
about it, most of the brokers still like. I mean, you have some brokerages out there that don't even have a CRM. They don't offer CRM to their agents.
Right. I mean, you just think about it. Keller Williams was quote unquote revolutionizing the industry with circle prospecting. You remember that?
Yep.
Right? Now, if I remember correctly, you're also a Mike Ferry guy?
So no. I never was part of his coaching program. So
Right.
the way I learned to
But you
cold
did
call,
expireds and
I did expireds and cancels. I downloaded every script that he had on his website. I watched every single video that he had on YouTube, and that's how I learned.
right.
That's how I learned. But I never was part of his
But
coaching program.
that was revolutionary.
In 2013, yeah.
But it's also been around since like the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
That's right. All right. So so you started with your sphere.
Yeah.
All right. 2008 was pretty rough for you. You said.
Yeah.
No systems.
No systems. My net in 2008.
Yeah.
My net after expenses and everything, negative $50,000.
Well, I mean, let's unpack that. I mean, here's what typically happens, right? When you start really kind of like losing money or you're not making money and then you get to the losing money stages of it, right? Like the alarm bells just like go out and you're like, man, you know what? Maybe I should go get that job again that I left.
That was 09.
Oh, that was 09.
That was 09.
That was 09, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like you were making pretty good money, right?
Yeah.
You were in tech field, right? You said you were making about $70,000.
I was making 70. I got a promotion right before, like in this midst of all this, I quit my job. They gave me a promotion and gave me a raise to 85,000. So like after benefits and everything, over 100,000.
Over $100,000,
Yeah.
right? Good job. Lots of PTO, all of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So what happened in 2009? You decided to go back?
2009, my wife was like, this isn't working. Right, because I got married in 07. So like I did a bait and switch. You know, I was a successful engineer when we were dating. When we got married, I was this failure of a realtor, right? So in 2009, it's like, this isn't working. Like you should go back to your job and see if they're hiring. Because when I quit, they said at any time, you can always come back. So in 09, I went back and they're like, sorry, like, you know, we're on a hiring freeze. Like this is not a good time. And thank God
They said that.
they said no, right? But yeah, 09, I was ready to like, this isn't working. Like I don't have the social skills to go out and get friends and family and consistently and like loving your database. I'm not kind of person that's really good at loving on your database.
Same thing with
Right.
me. Yeah, man.
So I was like, this isn't working. So they rejected me. But after they rejected me, this was at this point where I've, burned the boats. I'm like, well, if this has to work, let's just do one more stab at everything. And at this point, I started going to REO conferences. And this is how I started getting REO bank accounts, right? I'm listing properties with Wells Fargo, Fannie Mae, Chase Bank, Bank of America. That all happened after I burned the boats, right? After this real estate thing has to work. And so what I did is I go to these conferences. So, most realtors at that time, if you remember, were trying to get REO accounts.
Yeah.
And what would they do? Go to bankofamerica.com. You apply, submit your resume. Hey, thanks for your application. We'll get back to you. Chase, Wells Fargo, all the same thing. So what I had to do to get my accounts was I would go to the REO conferences, identify all the asset managers, right? These are the bankers. Figure out who are the decision makers. Take them to the clubs, get them drunk, get bottle service, bring girls over to the private section.
Yeah.
Come home, get listings.
Wow, that's so deep.
It's not the front door. Front door is welded shut. The front door is welded shut.
So all right, so walk me through this, right? So I'm just thinking like, all right, you're in 2009. Financially, you're probably not doing that well.
Horrible.
Right. So you're like again, I can envision myself in 2013, right? Like when I started in real estate, dude. Like, are you constantly doubting yourself, right? You just got rejected by a company that you thought was going to take you back.
Right. That was
Right,
my
so-
safe option.
You're married. I don't know if you had kids at that time.
Not yet.
But I mean, your wife is there, and she's kind of like, I don't know if she was working at that time or not.
Not
but
only was she working, she got a second job
she got a second
to support
but she's
us.
constantly like she wants to make sure that you're like, women for the most part. I mean, they want stability. They want security, right?
Especially an Asian woman.
Okay, right. So I mean, like going out there, conferences cost money.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, taking them to the strip clubs and bottle
Not
service,
strip club, just bottle service.
whatever that is.
Yeah.
That costs money.
It does.
Right, and you don't know if they're actually gonna like say, hey, Steve, you got our business.
Yeah, you
Like,
don't.
We just don't. So I mean, how were you able to tackle all of those uncertainties? Like, man, like again, I just like picturing myself doing it.
I didn't have any other options. Right? Like I got to go all in, right? Again, burn the boats. Like I have to make this work. I'm going to put all my chips on the table, right? I've shoved all my chips into the middle of the table. If this doesn't work, I don't know what else I have. So all those uncertainties really didn't matter. I had to make this work. Failing was not an option.
Were you mentored by someone at that time? Did you have anybody who was kind of like, hey,
No.
man, you should go to these conferences. You should talk to
No.
these people. I mean, how were you able to even like figure out that you got to go to these conferences in the first place?
I don't know. There was no one mentoring me in this capacity. I talked to my broker about it. He's like, I don't think that's a good idea. So
So the broker said,
like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah. So no, there was no one mentoring me. And as a matter of fact, if I had to do it all over again, looking back, I wish I was with a brokerage where there was support and guidance. And what I mean by that was I was at an independent broker, and at the independent broker, he's pretty isolated, right? So I don't generally push big brokerages, but I would think either being at a big brokerage or at a coaching program, like we connected through Craig Proctor,
yeah.
one of those would kind of say, hey, one way to get listings is go to conferences, right? I just didn't know any other way. What I did know was the front door was shut, right? How many resumes I uploaded, how many BPOs I did.
So you actually did that. You took those steps. You
Yeah.
uploaded a bunch of resumes, BPOs, trying to get that business, and you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, I
with that.
tried going through the front door forever. It didn't work. Right? And everyone did. Everyone tried going through the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't work. So
All right. So you started getting the REO business, and that's 2009, 2010,
Yep.
2011,
yep.
and then it kind of started changing and shifting into short sales.
Well, I could see and I was in short sales along the way. So
Yeah.
I could see the foreclosures writing, right? Like the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
And so what did I do? I reach out to the Callaways. I reach out to Russell Shaw.
Yeah.
And there were a handful of other people too, but Russell Shaw and the Callaways were the only ones that were willing to meet with me. And I was like, hey, look, I can see that my model of doing REOs, the days are over. They're coming to an end. And keep in mind, the whole time as an REO agent, I was intentionally responsive to buyer's agents, right? They called, I answered. They sent me emails, I replied. Because I knew that the REO days weren't forever. Most REO agents
Just neglected that side of the business.
yeah, they were complete pricks the whole way, right?
Yeah.
So I was always intentional to be responsive because I knew that I wasn't going to be
So
an REO
how
agent.
were you handling that volume of business? Because I mean, I don't know how many listings you had. You carried it.
I was not a gigantic REO agent, right?
Got it.
I was doing a few a month.
Got it.
But those few a month were good.
Sure.
So I don't know. I mean, we're not so busy that we can't answer the phone.
Yeah.
Right. At least not at that time. It's not like we were showing a bunch of properties. And at some point along the way, I got an assistant and I got buyer's agents to deal with the sign calls, this and that. But so I reached out to the Callaway's. I reached out to Russell Shaw. They both sat down and met with me. And I asked Russell, like, look, this stage of my career, I need to make a change. I don't know what to do next. Right.
And that was 2010.
2010. Right.
Okay.
Because even the REOs weren't over yet. You knew they were ending. Right. It was just like the listings were dripping in. And I asked Russell, I was like, look, here's my 3 options, which, by the way, anyone who's looking for coaching, like, come up with suggestions and have someone coach you through them. And I was like, look, I'm looking at Mike Ferry, Brian Buffini, and Craig Proctor. Which one of those 3 should I do? And he's like, oh, easy, Craig Proctor. Like, okay, how's it so easy? Well, Lester Cox is a friend of mine, and he's in Craig Proctor. Carol Royce is a friend of mine. She's in Craig Proctor, and they're both wildly successful. Easy choice. So I joined Craig Proctor for coaching. And that was one of the best things I did. Joining a coaching program that actually could tell you how to run a business. Like, up until this point, I was figuring things out mostly on my own.
Yeah.
Getting a coach was a massive game changer.
Interesting. So those are the 3 options that you had. You decided to go with an option that really focuses on marketing.
I didn't know what it focused on.
Yeah,
I just knew it was a coaching program.
Just coaching program. That's it.
Right.
So 2010, you joined Craig Proctor program,
Yeah.
right? And you were there until
I don't know, it was 13, 14, 15. I'm not exactly sure when I stopped. It was definitely after I opened up my brokerage in 13. So I don't know exactly when, but it would have been, or it might have even been 16.
So that helped you to kind of shift from REO, short sales, into traditional sales.
Well, what it switched me from was becoming from a realtor to a business owner.
Gotcha.
That was the shift, right? Looking at your business as a business versus, I don't know, a job.
Yeah. So 2013, you decided to start your own brokerage.
Yeah.
So typically it goes like you're a solo agent, then you get an admin, then you have like a showing agent or a buyer's agent, you have a small team, then you make a big team out of it, and then maybe you possibly start your own brokerage.
Right.
So in your situation, you went from solo agent with an admin, maybe an agent or 2.
I had a couple agents. I
Yeah,
had
a couple
buyers.
agents,
I
right.
had a little team. It wasn't a big team. Yeah.
And then you started your own brokerage in 2013.
Right.
What made you start your own brokerage?
Stupidity, right? So, so there's 2 things that drove that decision, and like, all on the way, like being heavily recruited by multiple places, right?
I bet.
So the first one was greed, because I mistakenly believed having my own brokerage, I can keep more of my commission, right? Because there weren't these flat fee brokerages like there are today, where it's not just a flat fee, but a ridiculously low cap. I don't know how these brokerages are in business, right? But at the time, there weren't places with $10,000 caps.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
HomeSmart was the cheapest, I think, but I don't think it was a $10,000 cap.
I don't think they had a cap at all at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, so the first thing was keeping more of my money. Again, that was in hindsight the wrong decision because it costs money to run a brokerage, right? More than $10,000. The second thing was I think this is just something within myself. The same reason why I couldn't work a corporate job. I'm mostly unmanageable, like me having to submit something to somebody to approve it and then review it for advertising and so on was irritating enough for me. But then on top of that, after I submit it to you for approval and then it works, now you're sharing this with everyone else in the brokerage. But if it doesn't work, we don't share Steve's expenses and costs. So I'm like, I am at this point now subsidizing the brokerage.
Yeah.
Right. With my own dollars. Like, if I'm going to spend the money to learn marketing, I want the benefits of the upside. I'm willing to take the risk for the downside. What I'm not willing to do is spend all the risk on the downside, but the upside is shared.
Without getting any credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Financial credit. Yeah, financial credit. Yeah,
Right.
so-
Like, if you'll share with me the risk, I will share with you the upside.
Well, did you have that conversation with
At
with
that
the
point,
brokerage
it
owner,
was just-
or you were just pretty much dead set on like starting your own brokerage at that time?
I kind of started getting disenfranchised when I did the whole REO thing, going to REO conferences, and he was not on board with it. Again, like, I'm taking the risk, I'm investing in it, and then when it works,
Yeah.
it benefits you guys.
Yeah. Was it a split shop or was it a flat fee company that you were part of?
We were a split shop.
Split shop.
So we were started 70-30, ended at 90-10.
70-30.
Yeah.
Got it.
70-30, 90-10. I don't think it's uncommon for newer agents to have that model.
Got it. Got it. But you were an agent for at that time for about 4 years now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when I started 07, left in, at
so
the end of
5
12.
years, yeah.
So yeah, 5 years.
5 years. Got it. Okay, so you started your own brokerage. Okay. Kind of like, do you wanted to grow it pretty quickly? A bunch of agents? Do you wanted to kind
No.
of keep it small? What was kind of like
I
the
wanted to
vision?
be focused just on my team. I wanted to be
got it.
just, at this time, Curtis Johnson had his own brokerage.
Yep.
Right? So Curtis Johnson Real Estate, I believe is what it's called.
Yep.
That was the same vision. Right? So here's my problem.
So like a Timmerage type of a thing.
A what?
A Timmerage, like a brokerage, but
a team?
it's a team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
So that was the
yep.
plan. So here's my greatest challenge. I have massive shiny object syndrome, right? Staying focused is not a strength. It's one of my strongest weaknesses. So I say I'm going to start this brokerage. It's just going to be my team, and that's it. Don't have to worry about splits. Don't have to worry about egos. It's just this, right? As I was gaining success, people were like, "I like what you're doing. I like to be a part of it. I like to join your brokerage. I don't want to join your team, but if you can coach me to do what you do, I like to be part of it." So I'm like, okay, these guys are gonna come in and pay me, and then I'm making some extra revenue without additional commitments. Makes sense to me. I don't know how many times I've said that where it's not worked out. It always seems like a good idea, but it doesn't work out. So as I'm doing this, I'm growing the brokerage. I lose sight. I stop focusing on the most important thing, which was my team.
Because you were just overextended at that period of time.
Yes.
Because at that time you had other agents. Were you still like a designated broker yourself? You had a designated broker on the team.
I was always a designated broker, even
You
when
were
I shouldn't
always
have.
a designated
I was always a
broker.
designated broker.
And why is that?
Because I have crazy risk tolerance, and there's no rational broker that would sign off on the things I would agree on.
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption. Just want to remind you to drop a like, hit the subscribe button, and that's it. Back to the video.
Right. So like I've always had managing brokers who did the file review.
Yeah.
Right. Like, everything was compliant. Like we did an audit, and it was like we passed it with flying colors, which was cool because if I was a broker, we definitely wouldn't have. Right.
Yeah,
So the things I'm willing to tolerate as an owner, most brokers that are on some sort of like per file or salary basis would agree to it because the broker has all the liability.
Do you mind sharing some of those examples?
I can't think of any specific examples, but here's what I'll say. I believe that most of the money is made in the gray area, right? It's not in the black and white, right? If it's black and white, everyone can do it, whatever. My strength is in problem solving. My strength is looking at a situation, figuring out where it is, and coming up with a solution that's amicable and serviceable for everybody involved,
Yeah.
right? So we will do things in such a way where everyone's happy, nothing's broken, we're not violating anything because I'll never step on the black. But if everyone knew how we got it done, they might be upset, right? So I can't think of any specific examples right now, but we're always creative problem solvers. As a matter of fact, we had a policy where you were not allowed to text me or email me difficult situations.
No shit.
Oh yeah, like if this is something that can be subpoenaed,
You're
everything's a phone call. Everything's a phone call.
hold on. It was a written policy.
It was more like, hey, why would you text this to me? Like, pick up the phone and call me, right? So it's probably not unlike some of the joint venture models out there, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is a conversation. This is not
Yeah.
an email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now you have a team.
Mm-hmm.
You got a brokerage that is growing. You have agents that are coming to you. It's like, hey, coach me, train me, show me the ropes, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So you started growing.
Yes.
But at the same time, you're like, man, like I feel like I'm not really focusing on my team anymore. Like I'm overextended. I'm doing so many other things with other agents. At that time, like how much those agents are actually paying you? Was there like a split or it was a flat fee?
It was a split. It was 70-30 up to 90-10, and we had a cap for 30K, right? And
It's pretty healthy.
Pretty healthy, right?
Yeah,
So like
right.
it was coming in.
Yeah.
But you know what we found is that anytime, because we would take these people in, they're making 30,000 a year, 50,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
I would coach them up to where they're making 300,000 a year, right? Because that's how you would cap, right? At 10% split,
It's 300,000.
300,000,
30,000.
right? So I had multiple people I coached up
So
to
you
300.
coach these people that came to you. This is very important. Like they were making $30,000 a year.
Yeah.
And after like certain period of time, they're making six figures,
Multiple six figures.
multiple six figures.
Yeah.
How? I mean, what were you doing, and what were you actually teaching them? I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, so
that's
there's-
life changing.
You would think, right? And it is life changing, but the gratitude doesn't stick around, which is why I shut down the brokerage. So, I mean, there's everything in business, right? I mean, I looked right when I came in here, right? You got Jim Collins, right? You got all these business books. I look at your posters. I'm teaching them marketing, sales, systems, processes, finance, how to work with a showing agent, how to work with a buying agent, how to handle listing agents, how to have a transaction coordinator, reasonable compensation models for transaction coordinators, processes for submitting, handing it off from the buyer's agent to the TC, how those conversations are going, how to deal with title companies, what to look for in a loan officer, what to look for in a title company, like everything, because I've done it all, right?
Yeah.
I've done all of it. So I'm just teaching them exactly everything I learned along the way. And so I'm only just transferring the knowledge that I had along the way from building my own book of business. So, one of the things that I would say is a superpower for myself is the ability to learn concepts and then share those concepts with you
In a simple or simplified manner.
in a simplified way
yeah.
where you can go and take action from it.
That's a gift.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a blessing for sure.
Yeah.
So I was able to do that over and over again, right? Multiple instances. But this is where, again, I got disenfranchised as a brokerage owner. Is once you get someone to making $300,000 a year, thank you, but I don't want to do this 90-10 anymore. Right? So my commitment to you is I will grow the hell out of your business at a 90-10 split with a 30K cap. I'm all in on this. Once they got there, they're like, what am I here for? It's like, so that we can do
Once
it again
they
and again.
felt like they extracted most, if not all, of the value, at least that's what they're thinking.
Yes.
Right? They're like, I don't no longer need this guy
Right.
anymore or
Yeah.
pay him $30,000. I can go and
I can go
pay
somewhere else,
someone
pay
for
10K a year.
$10,000.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
So like only need a few of those. Like, well, this is a stupid business model. I'm done with that model.
And how long did it take you to kind of realize that? So you started in 2013. You
Started at
growing.
13.
Yeah.
I kept this model.
Yeah.
Let's see. I shut it down in 22. So
So almost 10 years.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it took you 10 years to figure this out.
I wouldn't say so much that it took me 10 years to figure it out. Was that I stopped focusing on that side. Right. Like,
When did you stop focusing on that side?
I would say probably around 18.
And how many
18.
agents did you have at that time?
At our peak, we had 126 realtors.
126 realtors.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big size brokerage. I mean, that's like top 60, top 50
Yeah.
out of like 2,500 brokerages out
Yeah,
there.
like at our best, at our very, very best, right? I'm just cherry picking a data point in time, right? A snapshot in time, right? But
wearing my realtor hat.
yeah, but at my realtor hat for sure, right? At our very best, in our best month, in our little tiny brokerage, we had 1% market share,
No shit.
right? 1% of the transactions in the Phoenix market was done through my brokerage.
So agents were making money.
It wasn't making enough money
Yeah.
for a return on effort, right? It wasn't making enough money until two different things happened. I got a joint venture in a title company, right?
What year was that?
17, I think.
Okay.
So a joint venture in a title company.
Yeah.
And then had an agreement with a mortgage company,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't a joint venture agreement. It was they hired my wife, right? And my wife had to work for it. I didn't really think
Yeah.
they said that. I didn't believe them.
Yeah.
So they made her work.
Yeah.
So we had multiple revenue streams now between the title company and a loan officer situation.
Yeah.
And between those, now this is a model that makes sense. But even after that, I was like, once I got into real estate investing, like I don't have the patience, I don't have the tolerance to work with buyers, work with sellers, or with realtors once I got on the investing side.
So in 2008, you decided that real estate brokerage ownership is not the long-term
2018,
solution.
yeah.
2018.
This is no longer a worthwhile.
So why not then just kind of like say, you know what, maybe I'll just sell it. Get something.
We were too
to
small.
nothing.
I mean,
Even at 120 so agents, 26 agents?
yeah. I mean, because around the time, who was buying? Compass, right? I don't know who else was buying. But I could tell you one thing. Like, the only people calling me were people that wanted us to franchise.
Franchise,
right?
yeah.
Remax. There was one or two other that come to mind. But those are the kind of offers again. I was like, you want me to pay you money and give you a percentage of my revenue? No, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't even shop it around. You didn't put it on the market.
No, because what would I be selling? I mean,
you still got. You got agents. You got producing agents. You got the revenue coming in. I'm assuming you guys are profitable.
moderately, right? Like, not massively. But if you look at it,
What kind of staff were you running at that time? How many people did you have on your staff?
not a lot. So we had a managing broker and like 2 employees. Like, it wasn't a ton.
Yeah,
right?
so 10,000 to 15,000 payroll max.
Yeah, for payroll max. Yeah,
Altogether, probably about $25,000 in expenses.
maybe less than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look at, like, and maybe this is just my own limiting belief, but when you buy a company, right? Most companies, most of them you're buying the face, right? You're not buying the operations, right? Because there's not a recurring, and again, this could be completely limiting beliefs. Most people don't buy companies most people buy companies for the demonstration that you have a model where leads are
works
consistently coming
without
in.
you, right? Yeah.
Leads are coming in.
Yeah.
Leads are being worked.
Yeah.
You're turning into closings.
Yeah.
Right. That's what you buy. So, like, I don't know, Corcoran, when she sold her company, right? That made sense, right? Corcoran was a business in Manhattan or whatever, right? Zip Realty was always a model I looked at. I don't know how the hell they sold for what they sold for, but, like, I was like, man, it'd be cool to be Zip Realty one day. But beyond that, like, the most I heard outside of those 2 were like $1 million, and it's like the amount of work necessary.
$1 million, you mean like getting $1 million for the company?
Yeah, right. But for that, it's like, I don't know.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. Are you a real estate brokerage owner or a team leader that is looking to add consistently agents into your brokerage? My company's name is Modern Day Brokerage, and we help over 100 plus real estate brokerage owners and team leaders to predictably attract between 4 to 5 agents a month. If you want to learn more about it, go to the description page and select from one of the 4 links that we have there for you. Now back to the video.
I was really much more interested on the real estate investing side after.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Right. So in 2018, you kind of made a decision. This is not a long play for me. Right. It took you about 4 years to shut down. Right.
Yeah. Check out mentally, and then eventually sell it, and then eventually close it.
4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what were you doing from 2018 to 2022 at that time?
We were wholesaling. We were actively
Wholesaling.
wholesaling. Yeah, wholesaling, flipping, and that's something I was doing as a side hustle starting around 2012, right? Because I would get these properties that we would wholesale and wholesale, right? It was a side hustle.
Yeah.
It wasn't until 2018 that we actually started doing it intentionally, where we're actually spending money on marketing, tracking metrics, and all those other things.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So you were start seeing that, wait a minute, like I can make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 and just moving to paper.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you look at, so what are the things that we got to focus on as a business owner, right? There's ROI, return on investment.
Yeah.
Right. That's something that's one of the most important things. Well, on top of that, cash conversion cycle, velocity of money, right? If I put 10,000 out, when am I getting the 10,000 back? Is it 5 months, 6 months, right? So the cash conversion cycle is significantly shorter on the real estate investing side, right? And on top of that, the biggest thing, and this is an ego thing, right? They love you when you buy their houses. They are so grateful that you bought their home.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You're buying their houses.
I was thinking that maybe they're just kind of looking at you, that real freaking greedy investor.
That's the
trying
realtor
to-
hat. That's the realtor hat. That's what realtors think, right? That's what realtors believe. homeowners that we buy their houses are in such such dire straits that you being able to help them out of a bad spot, they're incredibly grateful. Some of the deals where I made the most amount of money on the property were the situations where the homeowners are the most grateful that we were able to help them out of a bad spot, right? So now going back to the realtor hat. Okay, Alan, I'm going to list your home.
Yep.
Right? I'm going to set the freaking record in the neighborhood.
Yeah. I'm going to be the superhero.
Yeah.
Superhero.
But I would multiple times either set the record on the listing side, or because I'm Asian, so I'm good at negotiating, getting the cheapest, paying the lowest, right, as a buyer's agent, right, in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
So between those two, never any gratitude, right? It was always, yeah, you set the record, but it took 46 days,
And I pay you $35,000.
yeah, and I had to make these repairs on the thermostat and the toilet O-ring, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like all these stupid things. And we were supposed to close on this date, and it took an extra 5 days because the buyer's loan officer was incompetent.
Yeah.
There's never like, if you think about the experience generally, not all, but the general experience working with a homeowner that's selling their house with a realtor is not massive gratitude. It was like, you did your job, right? Buyers love you, right? Buyers appreciate you. Like, they'll be friends with you, right? When you help them buy a house, because you help them change their situation from renting or living with mom and dad or whatever.
But also, I mean, plus on top of that, I mean, they're not paying your commission.
They're not paying your commission.
Sellers are.
Yeah.
Like I remember going to a for sale by owner appointment, right? And it was like a $625,000 house the guy wanted to sell. He had 2 offers on it, $595,000, $605,000. He was planning to accept them. You know, I wanted to get a listing. He's like, dude, like if I list it at $675,000 that you're proposing, like I gotta pay you like $32,000, $33,000 in commissions. Like I can buy a truck for that kind of money.
Yeah, they're counting your dollars. Yeah. So homeowner, working with a realtor, will count how much they paid you. Person that you buy their house doesn't care how much money you make. So it's easier.
Yeah.
It's faster. You make more money, and they like you. Why would I ever do the realtor thing again?
So wholesaling is easier than
It's easier
listing,
once you get in front of the homeowner. The hardest part is getting in front of the homeowner.
getting in front of homeowners. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you get in front of homeowners?
That's a whole different complicated topic. I'm happy to jump through it, right?
Jump through it.
So the biggest thing, so it depends on how much money you have, right? So the easiest way is Google pay-per-click and TV marketing. That's the easiest way. You get in real fast. You've got a decent-sized marketing
But
budget.
you got to have the financial resources to do that.
Yeah, but it's probably not that much more than you're spending as a realtor,
Really?
right?
Okay.
So you have to be willing to do that. Or what you can do as well is you can pull a list of distressed homeowners, right? Here are people that are struggling in one way or another. Pre-foreclosure, probate, divorce,
Yep.
co-violations,
Yep.
whatever. There's all these different signals that tell us this homeowner is in trouble.
Yeah.
So you pull the list, right? You have to pay for it. It's not cheap.
Yep.
Right. So you get the list. After you get the list, then you would skip trace it, which is basically getting their phone numbers, right? Really, that's the only important part, right? Getting their phone numbers. And then you call them. You mail them, text them. Oh, that's getting a lot harder, right? So calling them, mailing, texting them, getting in front of them. That's really the work that's involved. And now you're, how can I put this? The percentages are not in your favor, right? Like out of 100 people, 10 will talk to you, right? And out of 10 that will talk to you, 1 might be willing to meet with you. So this is if you're looking for dopamine hits like you would in cold calling an expired or a canceled listing, you're not going to get that, right? So you have to comb through more things. You have to comb through more leads, talk to more homeowners. But once you get in front of them, now it's just a sales job, right? And once you do this, once you're able to close them and get them to agree to work with you, once you get that agreement signed, from there to close is easy. It's simple, right?
Yeah.
The hard part in buying houses is finding the motivated homeowners, getting them to raise their hands, and getting them to agree to work with you.
Yeah.
Right? In the realtor world, that's not the hardest part. The hardest part is getting a signed listing agreement, and then for the next 6 months, calling you every week, hey, Alan,
With an updates.
here's how many showings we had. Here's the feedback we got from the realtors. What would you like to do? Right?
Yeah.
For 6 months, every single week. And along the way, Alan, why aren't you doing more? Hey, Alan, how come you're not doing any open houses? Hey, Alan, my friend's realtor put it in the newspaper. How come
Yeah.
you're not putting it in the newspaper?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like
Been
all
there,
this,
done that.
all these things, Alan. You could be a better realtor if you would just try harder.
Yeah.
For 6 months.
Yeah.
Right. And we talk about the cash conversion cycle. The money you put in to getting that listing, to when you actually get paid. Right. This market about 45 days on market.
Yeah.
Right.
About 3
45
months
days on
altogether.
market.
Yeah.
So then maybe 20 days to get the listing ready.
Yeah.
Another 30 to 40 days to get it closed.
Yeah.
So all in, you're around
3 to 4 months.
Yeah, 4 or 5 months, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the cash conversion cycle on that transaction is 4 to 5 months.
Yep.
Versus buying someone's house. They raise their hand, you go meet with them, you get an agreement signed, you market it, you get it sold, and you're getting paid less than 30 days,
Less than 30 days.
right?
Got
And they
it.
like you and you make more money and it's easier.
So how come most of the agents are not doing this? Like, if you think about it, like, what's the percentage of real estate agents, not only in our state but just nationally, and I don't know if you have that number, that actually like do one wholesale deal in their lifetime?
It's got to be less than 2 or 3%. Yeah. And the reason why is because you were saying earlier, right? Like you think they don't like you, right? Because that's your experience. And that was my experience. That was my belief as well until I started buying houses, right? I believed that this would be an adversarial situation. It's not. They appreciate you. So the reason why, there's two things. Realtors believe that the value they provide is getting you the most value, most amount of money for your home.
Yeah.
That's you imparting your belief system on someone else, right? That's not what all homeowners want. Now, 95% of homeowners, that's what they want, but not all of them. So we're not looking for the 95%. We're looking for the 4% that wants to get their house sold fast because they've got issues they need to deal with. So that's the first thing, right? Homeowners imparting their values. And I think the second thing is, it's probably an extension of the first one, right? Is they're just sitting on their high horse. They're just looking there and looking down on these investors like they're vultures. They're taking advantage of grandma.
Well, there's also, I think, that aspect of it where they teach you from the get-go, like from school, and then also the kind of brokers kind of like emphasize on it constantly, is that we have that fiduciary to the client or fiduciary to the homeowner, right? And we wanted to make sure that we don't take advantage of him or this and that. And because of that, like I'm a huge believer in giving a seller options.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I mean, but for some reason, I think that giving options at times, again, just talking to some brokerage owners or just agents in general is like, well, you cannot really offer them that type of an option of buying it 30% less or 25% less of the market
I don't know,
value.
right? Like that. That's us putting our values on somebody else. Now, this might sound preposterous. Some people listening to this, like, why? That should be what we should be obligated for, right?
Right.
But so would you say that price is the most important thing in any transaction? Price is the most important thing.
Right.
Okay. So then, do you drive a Kia to the office? Did you drive a Kia to the office this morning?
No.
Why not?
I don't know.
What do you drive?
BMW.
But Kia,
740.
but a Kia is cheaper.
It is much cheaper.
So then, price wasn't the only option,
No.
right?
Yeah.
Do you what city do you live in?
Peoria.
Peoria.
Yeah.
Do you live in the cheapest house in Peoria?
Probably not.
No.
No.
Why not? Price is the most important thing. Everyone should be fighting for the cheapest house in Peoria,
Yep. Uh-huh.
right? Price is not the most important thing, but we impart this belief on other people that price is the most important thing, right? Survey after survey shows.
So is it more of a like convenience,
So
certainty, maybe?
So when we're buying someone's house, the services we're offering, or what we're offering, what we're selling, is certainty,
Yeah.
speed,
Yeah.
convenience.
Yeah.
That's what we're offering.
Yeah.
It's not money, right? It's like, if you want this done fast, right? If you want to know that this is done, and you want us to work around your schedule,
Yeah.
we can do these things, but not at fair market value, right? So, I'll ask you another one, right? Just to be, not to be a major jerk, right?
Oh, no.
But, like-
I enjoy this.
Right, but let's just say, you guys are having birthday parties here, right?
Yeah.
We're doing the birthday cake thing, and maybe someone, like, you cut your hand cutting the cake, God forbid, right?
Yeah.
Are you price shopping ERs?
No.
Why not? Price is the most important thing.
I gotta go and get that thing stitched up, man.
Let's get this fixed right now. right? So you're looking for speed. You're
Yeah.
looking for convenience.
Yeah.
And you want to know that the guy's competent. But you're not price shopping the doctors. Like, well, hang on. How much? When you bill me in 30 days, like, what's this going to be? No, there was another doctor up the street that could do it cheaper.
Yeah.
This question doesn't come up.
Right. So these sellers are highly motivated.
Yeah. Well, like I
Right.
said,
I
we pull
mean,
them from a distress.
Distress situation list. Got it. All right. So like, I mean, what are the spreads on something like wholesaling nowadays? I mean, I'm sure there's like, first of all, there are a lot of wholesalers out there right now. Probably,
a lot.
right?
And
A
we're
lot.
we're in the capital, right? In Phoenix.
Are we really in capital of
Oh,
wholesale?
for sure we're the
We
capital.
are.
Oh, yeah. There's way, like, we have the highest realtor per capita, right, in the country. I don't know. Like, you knew that, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, what are we, 40, 45,000 realtors right now?
Yeah, right. So we
Yeah.
have the highest realtor per
Yeah.
capita. We also have the highest like wholesaler per capita.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, for whatever, it's the reason why all the iBuyers start here, right? And all the funds are buying here. It's just so much easier to do real estate in Arizona. So yeah, we're the highest per capita. I forget, what was the question?
So the question is,
what's the margins?
What's
What-
the margins like?
Yeah.
I mean, like right now, especially.
So right now we're looking somewhere. Our target has been consistently 20,000, but these days around 15,000, and sometimes less with the market going down, or at least not going down, but investor confidence is low. So if we look at wholesale, right? You're the homeowner. I'm going to contract with you. I'm going to try to sell to someone else
Yeah.
who intends to flip it, right? If I'm trying to wholesale to someone else that's intending to flip it, most flippers do not have a positive
Experience.
expectation of what's going on with the market, right? So, if you look at the last 2-3 years prior to 22, market was going up really fast. If I buy this property, I know that market's going up, and I could probably sell it for higher than comps today, and I probably won't have to pay closing costs, and I can sell it fast. So if the end buyer is really optimistic, he's willing to pay more for the property. In a flat market or potentially declining market, he's looking at it. It's going to take longer to sell. I might not even be able to sell it for what the market value is today, and I'm going to have to pay closing costs. And if you look at the hard money costs or other holding costs along the way, it's just more. So what I could get as a spread before in the good times where it was not unusual to get 30,000,
Yeah.
today, 15, unfortunately, is we're seeing more of that.
So $10,000-$15,000.
Yeah.
Average.
Yeah.
And to acquire that customer or that seller, what are we looking at?
Depending on the marketing channel, we've ranged between 3,000 per closing and 7,000 per closing.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, still pretty healthy margin.
Fantastic margins.
Oh,
like I
yeah.
said, once I figured out this side of the business, it's really hard to be patient again with buyers, sellers, and realtors. Why would I, as a brokerage owner, be working with Alan
Yeah.
if he doesn't want me to make more than 10,000 a year, less than 1,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
My realtor, Alan, is opposed to me making that kind of money.
Yeah.
Why would I do that when I can go to over here and work with a distressed homeowner and make about what I would make from a capping realtor
In one shot.
in one shot, fast? Right? It's the value of time. What is your time worth?
Can you scale that business?
100% you can scale that business. I mean, we're in Phoenix.
Yeah.
We see Mr. Doug Hopkins on TV all the time.
Constantly.
He's a gorilla here, right? He's doing 30 of these a month. He's a massive gorilla. He's the biggest player in the Phoenix market.
He's the biggest player in the Phoenix market right now.
Or you got Russell Shaw. I don't know where Russell Shaw sits in the realtor world. Kind of gotten disconnected. We were talking about earlier.
So Russell Shaw, I mean, he is. I think he still does real estate sales.
Yeah, no, he does. He does. I'm saying as far as TV, right? Like,
TV, yeah.
Right, you got-
I haven't seen him on TV, but then again, I don't watch that much TV, so
right.
I don't know.
But for sure, we know about Carol Royce.
Yeah, Carol Royce,
Right.
Russell Shaw,
72 sold for a bit.
72 sold, right?
Right. I mean, 70. They were spending like 800,000 a month
Yeah,
on
yeah,
marketing.
yeah.
So like 72 sold would be maybe we'll say for a period of time was the gorilla
Yeah.
in Phoenix
Right.
on advertising.
I think they got a new the new pitch now.
yeah, 990
Starts for
sold.
999
Yeah, whatever the hell
sold.
that is.
Yeah.
So
Flat fee 999.
yeah, I don't know how you spend money to lose money, but that's a completely different topic. So so for some time, Greg Haig was
Yeah.
the 800-pound gorilla on the realtor side. Doug Hopkins is the gorilla.
Now
Has been for decades.
for decades.
Yeah.
Got it. So you can see the scaling not only in the state but nationally.
There are a lot of guys doing it nationally. You got some other challenges, right? Like, keeping culture and accountability consistent across multiple locations is challenging.
Yeah.
I have never wanted that challenge, right? Because even when we were doing well with Stunning Homes Realty, we were doing well in Tempe office. We were servicing the whole market, but we were doing well in Tempe. We opened up a second location only because a team joined us and that already had an existing location, right? Otherwise, we would not have had a second location. But every time someone's like, hey, you should expand, you should have more locations.
Yeah.
I always said that I don't believe I am the leader required to lead an organization that can have multiple locations, maintain culture and accountability and consistency across multiple locations. You've got to be next level leader.
Have you considered maybe aligning yourself or hiring that leader, that individual that can actually maybe run that business?
No, but if I were to do it today, I still wouldn't.
Still wouldn't.
Still wouldn't. Because I am now at a point in my life where I'm not trying to do more. I'm at a point now where I want to build a business where I don't have to increase revenue. I just want to reduce expenses. I want to maintain a consistent amount of profit every single month. So instead of trying to raise the revenue, I am trying to raise the floor of how much money we're bringing in every single month. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to do that with less effort. Now, if we can raise the floor and how much money we're bringing in every month with less effort, what do we have? We have better processes, we have better systems, right?
Yeah.
The ceiling will naturally increase. So I'm not trying to bring in more people to manage.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to do the same with less resources.
With less resources.
Yeah.
So what are you doing right now? Like you got how many companies right now?
So I've shut down a lot of companies along the way, right? So right now, my core focus, there's two things, my two activities.
Yeah.
I am either podcasting, right?
Okay.
Creating content, podcasting, or sales training, just helping people with sales.
Sales training.
That is my number one thing. So we help people close more sales. That's our core focus as a business.
Any specific industries that you work with?
So our bread and butter from 19 till today has been real estate.
Real estate.
Primarily buying houses, but it translates, right? Like sales to sales in real estate. But outside of that, sales to sales in general. So we are moving outside of just real estate. So like yesterday we had a conversation with someone who does, hotel staffing, right? So we might have a private client who's willing to pay a very healthy amount for us to come in and, I'll say revolutionize, maybe build out. He doesn't have much right now. Build out his systems for his hotel staffing company.
For his sales team.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so kind of like let's unpack that. I mean, so what are we talking about? Like training, like for example, we have on our agency side of the business, we have 3 SDRs, we have 2 AEs, right? Me being a part-time AE as well.
Yeah.
Right. So you would go in and you would train the SDRs, you would train AEs. Is that what you guys are doing, or this is more
for a custom model? Yes, we would do that.
Custom model,
right?
okay.
So right now, what we're doing is we have live events and we have a community, right? So salesdisruptors.com, we have our community. Right, and that's anyone can plug into there. That's $97 a month. Anyone can plug into there.
Salesdisruptors.com.
Yeah,
Got it.
Right, so that's our community. We have live events. We're having one on Friday, Saturday next week. Right. By the time this release, it's too late. Sorry, guys. But Friday, Saturday next week.
Ricky, can we get it out before that?
And then on top of that is we're adding this custom component of meeting with organizations, and then the last thing. And this has been a focus for this quarter's priority, is offering a done-for-you sales solution. Because most people, not most people, but there are a lot of people who can't stand managing salespeople, right? So we're just going to be an agency for you where like, hey, I want you to sell my stuff. And they pay us a very healthy commission for selling it.
So there are a couple of people in here, I think, in the Valley. I think Cole Gordon is one of them.
I think he's the
Jeremy
biggest.
Miner is another one. Similar models to theirs?
Yes. Yeah. They're inspirations.
They're your inspirations.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Man, sales is it's interesting, right? Because in real estate, we're sales professionals. But I just
I
don't think
strongly
that most,
disagree with that.
No. I
statement.
know, and that's what I'm trying to get to. Is like most of the agents, though, like they look at sales like it's kind of like slimy and it's kind of like pushy and it's overbearing.
Yeah.
They look like, for example, like expireds and cancels for sale by owners. Man, it requires a sales skill,
100%.
right? Even open houses requires a skill. I tell this to my agents all the time. Everything that we do in live requires sales. Talking to
100%.
kids, I mean, wife, right? Everything that we're doing, employees, it's sales, right?
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I'm getting constant pushback. It's like, man, I don't want to be overbearing. I don't want to be too pushy. I don't want to be slimy. I don't want to be a car salesman. I want this and that. I was like, sales is not any of those things.
That's the Hollywood version, or that's the experience that we feel. Because what
It's like
experience?
Gordon Gekko experience,
Yeah. So what experience do we have in sales? Only negative ones, right? Because we only remember the negative ones. We don't remember the good ones. Because if it was good, you wouldn't notice it.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like officiating. When you watch sports, if you can notice the referees, they're bad, right? But if a well officiated game, you'll never notice the referees.
Yeah.
A good salesperson, you're not going to notice you got sold. Because what do? They figure out what you wanted and give you what you wanted. A bad salesperson is pushing you, getting you to do something you don't want to do. There's all sorts of pressure, right? So you feel obligated to do something. That's what a bad salesperson does. That's not what we do.
So, what are the steps of becoming a good salesperson? Let's say, for example, whether you're in real estate or any other industry out there that requires sales, right? What are some of the concrete steps that they can take to become like good salesperson?
First, they have to be aware that they're not good at it. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
My experience working with realtors is that they think they're salespeople, but they're not. Most of them, majority of them, and you just look at it, right? Like, was it 60% does one seller last a year, right? Most realtors suck at sales, right? Most of them are also pretty bad at marketing.
Yeah.
So most successful realtors, big teams, primarily are really good at marketing,
Yep.
right? And the team leader is probably really good in sales, and they might have one or two people who are really good at sales. But for the most part, most of them aren't good at sales. So step one is understanding I'm not good at sales,
Yep.
right? And after that, it's just a commitment, right? You can learn from me, or you can just do what I did. You can go get sales training. You can read the books, right? You got David Sandler's Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike, a seminar. You got Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference. You got Gap Selling, and then a whole library of neuro-linguistics programming books, right? You can learn about behavioral psychology, all these things. You can do all these things, right? And then once you do that, now you got to embrace it. You're a professional. If you're a professional, what do professionals do? They practice.
Your practice.
That best paid industries practice. Singers, actors, athletes, they practice. Like, for me, I always kind of laugh when a realtor says, I don't want to sound scripted, right? But then you watch Denzel Washington and Leonardo DiCaprio, guess what? They're scripted.
Yeah.
You can't tell they're scripted, right? They've internalized it. They've embraced this,
Yep.
right? So you got to embrace it, right? And then the last thing I would say, so after practice and continued practice, is on top of that commitment, is changing what's going on in your head, right? Most people have a belief problem where I am doing this to somebody, right? If I'm selling you, I'm doing something to you. More or less, that's kind of how they feel. All we're doing here is we're simply trying to facilitate and guide you in the direction you want to go, right? You've got a problem. You have a solution that you want. My goal is to figure out what the perfect solution is for you, right? What the ideal outcome is for you, and figure out how I can do that for you.
Right.
That's my job as a salesperson. Not pushing you, right? There's no pushing whatsoever. Let's figure out if I can help you. If I'm the best qualified person to help you achieve a desired outcome,
Right.
we're going to figure this out through conversation, through sales. If we can, great. If we can't, hey, you're going to have to look at some other options.
Yeah. So it's kind of building out a framework when you're talking to somebody, right? The first piece of it is kind of discovery,
Yeah.
Figuring out whether...
The second piece is discovery.
Oh, the second piece is discovery. So
First
what's the
step
first
is
piece?
commitment.
Commitment.
Yeah.
Got
Hey,
it.
Alan, I'm going to sit down here. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to figure out what's important to you. Somewhere along the way, you're going to have some questions for me. I'm going to have some questions for you.
Yeah.
If any time you feel like this is not a good fit, you just don't like me, will you feel comfortable telling me, like, this is not a good fit?
Yeah.
Likewise, if in our conversation we figure out I'm not going to be the best person for you, are you going to be okay if I tell you that I'm not the best person for you? And if it does make sense for us to work together, what that means is we're going to put everything in writing, document everything we talked about today, and then we'll work together. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
right? That's just gaining commitment.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Gaining commitment, then having a discovery,
Then having a discovery.
right? Figure out all the objections along the way, right? So most people close and then deal with objections. We're going to figure out all the objections, all the reasons why we shouldn't do business together. Take care of each one of those if we can, and at the end, we just work together.
Man, you make it sound so freaking simple, dude.
It's really simple if you dive really deep into our heart for 5 years.
Okay. All right. So you've been doing this for 5 years, deeping. I mean, we're talking about
Going all in, just being a
going
total
in.
nerd.
Yeah.
For the last 5 years. Like I started to do it because if you met me, you knew me from before. I was a crappy salesperson, right?
Well, I didn't know you were. Look, I mean, you're running at that time already a successful organization.
I ran a successful organization because I was really good at marketing because of Craig Proctor.
Right.
Because of Craig Proctor, I got really deep into copywriting and direct mail and direct response and Dan Kennedy, all those other things, right?
Yeah.
So I got really good at marketing thanks to our experience with Craig Proctor. They offer nothing as far as sales goes, right? I mean, no disrespect. Like I love, Todd Walters and all those other guys, right?
Yeah.
But they offer nothing as hard in terms of sales. I had to learn that on my own later on.
Yeah. What about other real estate coaches out there that kind of like more sales centric? Like let's say Mike Ferry's of the world or other ones.
Mike Ferry was just prospecting, as far as I'm aware.
Prospecting and the scripts and going on a listing appointments and all of that stuff.
Yeah, but his is still, I think, high pressure sales.
High pressure sales.
Yeah, right. And then you got Brian Buffini, which is still marketing, right? It's referral marketing.
Yeah.
But it's still marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not aware. And then Tom Ferry is all about team building.
Yeah.
How to build a team.
Yeah.
Right? Stuff that we talk about, like what people used to do at their brokerage, what the brokerage used to offer. Brokerages suck now for the most part. So now Tom Ferry is filling that hole. Right?
Hold on. Are you a part of the brokerage right now?
I'm at Real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like I said, for the most part, not all, it's not a blanket statement, but it's like 90+% true, right? So then if we're talking about sales then, I'm not aware of a realtor coach. Actually, I take that back. There is one, Ninja Selling. Ninja Selling is really good. So these are guys based out of Denver.
Okay.
So the Ninja Selling group in Denver is really good at sales. But I don't really hear people talk about them.
Got it. Interesting. So the focus right now are on two things: podcast, right? I mean, you got about 80, 90,000 subs on YouTube.
We only have 40,000.
Or was it
40,000 on YouTube, 80,000 plus on Instagram,
Yeah.
110,000 on TikTok. That one I think so was kind of funny. And then that's our three biggest drivers.
Got it. And then the Sales Disruptors is your training company, sales training company.
Yep.
Got it. So those are the two companies that you're currently focusing on.
Well, I mean, the podcasting kind of falls into it because that's marketing,
Yeah, that's marketing.
right?
Yep.
It's just getting our brand out there.
Right. So what's the vision?
The vision is to build the best sales training organization on the planet.
In the world.
Yeah.
Right on.
Right. And again, my philosophy is I got to figure out what you want and help you get that. Right. Without pressure. That's not how sales is done today. And sales has been around forever, but that's not how sales is done today. So I want to change the narrative on what sales means. And what it is again, understanding what you want, helping you understand what you want, because that's the other thing too. Most people don't know what they really want.
Correct.
Right? So helping you understand what you want, why it's important, and once we figure that out, see how I can do that for you. And if I can't, it is what it is. But that is the way sales should be versus the pushy, get the signed contract, sit and stare, awkward silence. Let me talk to my manager. Like,
Let me talk to my wife.
yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Well, on the sales side, let me talk to my manager if you're in car sales, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But talking to your wife, like that's a conversation that is an objection we get, right?
Yeah.
So we talk about how to deal with those objections.
So you teach all of that.
All of that, yeah.
Is it like an online course, where people can sign up to, or this is live training, combination of both?
Yeah, we have an online course. It's $3,000, but we price the community for $97 a month because not everyone has $3,000 to spend on training. So if you spend the $97 a month to be in our community, you get access to our course that's $3,000. Or you could buy the course for $3,000.
So it's $97 to be part of your ecosystem community. And that's on Facebook, or it's a special
Discord.
Discord.
Yep.
Okay, got it. How many members do you have right now there?
We're like 120, 130. Yeah.
And they're paying $97 a month. Right on. And then they have access to the $3,000 course. right? And then is there any other opportunities? Any
Yeah, so
upsell
anyone that's in our
opportunities?
community, so we have our live events, it's $3,000, right?
Yeah.
We do about once a quarter. From there, if someone's inside our community, they get $500 off.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Any high ticket products?
Yeah, I mean, the highest ticket product we have is our sales leadership training.
Okay.
Because it's one thing to work with to get good at sales.
Yeah.
It's nothing to manage salespeople, right? Salespeople are crazy. Look at yourself, look at myself. We're driven individuals. We tend to believe we know what we want and we know what's right. So I want to do what I want. Also, because we're salespeople, we generally don't believe rules apply to us. So we're mostly non-compliant, right? And I'm not saying this to beat up on salespeople. I identify as a salesperson, right? So if you're a person that's a very strong individual, that's generally non-compliant, how do I get you to do the things that you need to do for you to be successful? So we have a whole program, curriculum around that, how to manage salespeople effectively.
Okay, that's interesting, man.
Yeah.
All right, so as far as real estate, going back to the real estate, you're still doing any wholesaling?
We do some. Not a lot. It's
Are you
not focused.
buying properties by any chance?
We are,
You
but only if other people are sending it to us right now.
Got it. Any flipping?
No, I hate
No,
flipping.
you hate flipping.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm not good at it, right?
Just the managing piece of it. You're just not.
So
like
we talk about
babysitting?
managing salespeople,
Yeah.
right? It's difficult.
Yeah.
Managing contractors is supposedly more difficult. I don't know. I've just given up on it, right? But there's other things too. You know, I think a big part of the entrepreneurial journey is understanding yourself. And I understand that I am horrific visually, right? I'm an auditory kinesthetic person. I'm not a visual person, right? So whenever I dress well, it's because my wife bought the clothes for me, right? So I'm not a visual person. I'm not detail oriented. So if you're gonna be a flipper, you have to catch everything that's wrong so that the person can come back and fix it. I'll walk through your house, yeah, it looks pretty good, and I'm out. Same reason why I was not a great, auditor for files, right?
Yeah.
And then the third, looking at, again, return on time, return on effort, return on attention. Managing a flip is not the best return on effort. And again, earlier we were talking about the cash conversion cycle. The cash conversion cycle on the flip, it's more money, right? It's more money, but it takes longer to go in and out. And it requires more of your money. Wholesaling doesn't require as much of your money.
Yeah.
For a flip, if you are using your own down payment or if you are paying for rehab out of your bank account, man, when things happened in the middle of 22, a lot of flippers got hurt. When things went down in 08, a lot of flippers got hurt. I'm still traumatized
Right. Yeah.
from
yeah.
07,
Yeah.
right? Even though I didn't lose everything, I knew a lot of people that did. We saw a lot of people lose everything, including their marriages, right? I had told myself this whole time, I'm never going to put myself in a position where I'm going to lose everything, including my family.
Interesting perspective.
Yeah. Well, you get cut enough times, you
Oh, absolutely.
learn.
You learn. Okay. All right. All right, brother. Well, where can our audience find you?
The best place to find us,
Yeah.
or find me, is YouTube, iTunes, Spotify's Real Estate Disruptors. And then on Instagram at steve.trang. And if you guys want to send an email, steve@closemoresales.com.
steve@closemoresales.com.
Yep.
All right. Right on, brother. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I know you're
thank you.
super busy. I enjoyed, and hopefully we'll do it again, man.
For sure. I enjoyed it as well.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you like this type of a content, hit a like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for any future videos.